Welcome to Fundraising Confessions, the truth behind the profession. I am your host, Rochelle Jerry, CEO of Jerry Consulting Group. Today, we are speaking with Julia Whitehead, founder and CEO of the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library, located here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome, Julia.
Hi, Rochelle. Thank you so much for having me on.
For sure. How are you?
Yeah, doing really well. So many wonderful things going on right now and in the coming weeks. How about you?
Mhm. I'm doing very well. Had a great weekend and glad to see you this Monday morning. So, we're going to start by just asking you about who you are and how you got here to be the founder and CEO of the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library. Take it away, Julia.
Well, thank you. So, I did a bunch of different things with my life. I served as a Marine Corps officer. I worked as an editor for Random House Publishers. I was in the Peace Corps. I taught English in Thailand. I worked for another nonprofit at one point. I came back home again to Indiana, and I worked for the state legislature before going to Eli Lilly and Company as a medical writer. That was a wonderful experience for me, and especially because they have this replica museum on the campus at the headquarters here in Indianapolis. And so I volunteered to be a corporate ambassador and give tours of this museum. I always had an interest in museums, storytelling, archival work, really are, the story of us as people. And so the idea to start the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library came to me one evening, and then while I was working at Lilly, and then the next day I cold called Kurt Vonnegut's son, Mark, and told him my idea. I didn't know him, but he said, "Oh, let's see what happens." And yeah, we started a nonprofit.
Wow, that's amazing. And congratulations to you for actually having the courage to act on your idea.
It's so important for people to do that, right? Because the magic is when you speak with somebody about what you want to do. You can
Yes.
write plans all you want, but until you have those important conversations with people, not much gets done. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we see in fundraising, right? We see the vision before everyone else's, right? And we advocate for a partner to go along with us and also see the vision, right? So I see a lot of that in fundraising and relationships. And so tell us about your mission. What is your mission at the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library?
We celebrate Kurt Vonnegut by advocating for free speech and common decency. So we're not just in the business of Vonnegut. We really care about uplifting human dignity. He wrote about that. So our programs are everything from a wonderful youth writing program in the Indianapolis public high schools that affects 70% of the students who visit the writing centers, to veterans writing workshops, to so many interesting programs, but also our award-winning tours. We have exhibitions. We have an amazing collection. We also, in our special building, we are right on Indiana Avenue,
Mhm.
historic African American cultural district. So our building was Black owned for a large portion of the 20th century, and we definitely want to tell that story so visitors can learn
Sure.
about Black joy on the Avenue,
Mhm.
and what it was like when Indiana Avenue was similar to Black Wall Street, where thriving businesses and arts experiences. Because we have the beautiful Madam C.J. Walker Legacy
Mhm.
Center and Theater across the street from us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important to recall that history. I'm from Chicago, so I grew up in the, Inglewood, Bronzeville, Hyde Park, just all the areas that were thriving jazz art districts, that are also coming back to life. And so
Yeah.
I am just so glad to see that and hear that and see, especially the young professionals who are also in the business of keeping that joy and excellence in music and theater and art in the forefront for the next generations that are coming up in Indiana. So that's so good. So how about your programming and for the museum? Tell us about that and your writing programs. You mentioned high school students. What other programs and partnerships that has helped you with those programming?
Well, one partnership that is sort of in my mind this week because we have this Kickstarter campaign.
Yay!
Amazing.
A fundraising campaign.
Yes.
Yes.
Kickstarter is, kind of a classic crowdfunding campaign.
Hmm.
The thing about Kickstarters, if you don't raise all the money, you don't get any of the money. And we have never failed at this, but we have about not even 24 hours. It's 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay. All
We have a
right.
deadline. We're
That's
still
pretty important, right? So
Yeah.
go to where? So it's a fundraising campaign. You are
Yes.
almost at your goal of $45,000.
$45,000. We're just over 5,000 short of that goal. And, all ranges of gifts are appreciated for, starting at $10 on up to, we had somebody pitch in $10,000. So it really runs the gamut of gift sizes. And these are people all over the country. Some of the folks will never step foot in the Vonnegut Library, but they see what we're doing, which I haven't told you what it's for yet. So we have lots of wonderful university partners here in Indiana. We have amazing universities from Indiana University to Butler and many others. Our partnership with Purdue University is especially important for a number of programming reasons. But one, Purdue engineering students are creating an exhibit based on the Vonnegut novel. It's so amazing. So there'll be I haven't even said, I won't go into all of this, but Vonnegut was a World War II veteran. He was captured by the Nazis and tortured and had this horrific war experience that left him with post-traumatic stress and some physical injuries throughout the rest of his life. But Slaughterhouse-Five is his book where he tells that story as a fiction. And so Purdue students are creating the exhibit. They're creating a robot that can answer questions. This all will be unveiled at Vonnegut Fest in November. So November 11th is Vonnegut's birthday. But the funds help to bring this exhibit to life, help us with, rolling it out to people and making sure everyone has what they need to have a wonderful exhibition experience.
That's awesome. So if you are able, support the Kickstarter campaign, visit the library in November to see the actual exhibit where the Purdue students are creating the exhibit and the robot.
Yes, that is one of the things. Another one that we are so excited about is our 4th of July America at 250 project. So, people have lots of options this year for where they are at the 4th of July.
Yeah.
But our space is going to be especially meaningful. You don't even have to be a Vonnegut fan to come enjoy this. We have an extraordinary art exhibition that was shared with us. It was compiled by Jimmy Carter, the Carter Center, a number of artists from Maya Angelou to Bono of U2, Kurt Vonnegut's artists included, Bob Dylan, all sorts of celebrities. And many of those individuals are not known for having created art. They're known for some other artistic endeavor. But we have this collection of signed silkscreen prints that will be on display. And we have a Vonnegut family reunion. The family is coming in from all over the country, along with filmmaker Robert Whitey. So he's a notable documentarian. He did a wonderful Vonnegut documentary that was on PBS nationally a few years ago. He's also known as the producer of Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David. Folks know that. He will be there in person talking about his decades of friendship with Kurt Vonnegut. So that'll be fun. Then we have a a fireworks party that night, and family activities in our parking lot, a dunk tank, and all sorts of fun outdoor things for the
Yeah.
4th of July.
Yeah, that is amazing. So there's so much goodness here. I mean, you mentioned a key partnership, why partnerships are so important because they grow over time, right? And you mentioned Purdue, you mentioned the Kickstarter campaign,
Yeah.
the exhibition that's being created by the Purdue students that you can see in November, and then your America 250 4th of July celebration that will be a big deal with the art exhibition courtesy of Jimmy Carter uh, collection of art, right? And many opportunities for people to visit the museum and also support your mission of advocating for free speech and common decency. I like that so much. And you also work with local artists as well and your veterans programming.
Yeah, there's one in particular, or a couple, I should say. So Linda Adeniji
Hey,
is a
Linda.
local Army veteran. She has
Yeah.
created murals for us.
Mhm.
She's currently doing a program called Rubber Souls with a small
Mhm.
group of veterans, but she's, an ongoing partner. We love Linda's work and really her sense of community. And she's such a giving person with her talents and her care for other people. Greg Potter is another local military
Mhm.
veteran
Hey, Greg.
artist that we are working on with
Yeah.
for that, and some other programming too. We have a literary journal that we publish every year that includes a certain percentage of military service members who have contributed their work. They go through a screening process with our
Yeah.
review panel, just like everybody else. But that we get a lot of wonderful comments about our lit journal. Famous people send their work into our
Mhm.
artists, photographers. So that's just one more thing. I want to give a shout out to the Vonnegut Library staff because
Yes.
we're a little bit different from lots of organizations. So we're super small, right?
Mhm.
Have 4 full-time employees. That's it. We do all these big things nationally. We are the National Kurt Vonnegut Center. We
Mhm.
sent a few years ago. We sent 1,000 copies of Slaughterhouse-Five to Brevard County, Florida, when the book was banned in Florida. We go all over the country. Excuse me, speaking out against book banning and other sorts of anti-censorship activities. But our staff is we're creatives ourselves, each one of us. I'm a published author. We have a member of our team, our curator has a band. Our general manager has a theater background, and just a lot of we have a lot going on, so we see things a bit differently. We're not just arts administrators. I think that helps us to be able to create content for like our curator has a podcast,
Mhm.
and so we're a little bit different. We have to be. We're small and we're building, and this is a wonderful year. And I need to give you a shout out,
Ah.
Rochelle. Um, I have had two really important foundational experiences in
Mhm.
my 16 years with the organization from a fundraising perspective. I
Mhm.
want to, if it's okay, I'd love to share
No, sure.
those
Yes. Thank you.
experiences. So the first one was unfortunately the leader of this group has passed away, so they're not currently operating. But
Mhm.
it was an executive reinvention program, and
Mhm.
this was Fortune 500 CEOs. They're mostly men, right? And this lady walked in, Tracy Goss, and she said, I knew Kurt Vonnegut. I know what you're doing here, and I'd like to give you a scholarship to participate in this program because we don't have a lot of women
Mhm.
who can participate in this. What I learned in this program was that I had been doing fundraising all wrong. So this
Mhm.
was we had been around probably about 4 years when this happened, and I wasn't a comfortable fundraiser. I felt I felt bad about asking people for money, like I was desperate or something. What
Mhm.
I learned in that program is that it doesn't matter if people say no. What you want is to get to know people and care about them, whether they're
Mhm.
going to donate or not. It doesn't matter. The us as human beings on this planet, and this is so very Kurt Vonnegut, we have to care about each other.
Mhm.
And then, the money will come or it won't, right? But
Mhm.
if we don't care about each other, we don't have the important conversations where you really get to know somebody and what they're interested in. Maybe they're not interested in the work we do, but then I can maybe send them on to a community partner, and try to raise all tides, right? Or however that phrase goes, or a
Yeah.
whole, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, because that's what it's about, right?
Raise
It's
all
the
boats.
yeah, it's the values exchange, right?
Yeah,
Understanding what people have interest in and
yeah.
what they want to support. And I always enjoy meeting new people. I've always been a connector. I've always enjoyed understanding people's motivations and behavior. So that's a very important point that you made, Julia.
Well, and for you, my shout out for you, because I've had the privilege of working with you for a number of months now.
Mhm.
You've done so many things to help me as a fundraiser and as a leader of a nonprofit. But a few things really stand out. I in the past, I think that I would look at setbacks and think of them as these isolated incidents, and then I realized our setbacks, many of them are things that I really needed to be more on top of. If somebody can come in and be a problem for the organization in some way, that's that's my fault for not having the structure set up in a way that we can protect ourselves from issues that pop up. So just as a CEO, I have been helped by you, but as far as a fundraiser goes, you have spent your professional life as a fundraiser.
Mhm.
I haven't. I've spent a portion of my professional life as a fundraiser, but I'm also managing a board, and I'm managing a
Mhm.
staff, and wonderful staff, wonderful board. But it's different from spending all of your time as a fundraiser, making sure those processes are in place, making sure that the staff and the board see themselves as fundraisers, and then just recently, joining. The Association for Fundraising Professionals and going to their
Yeah.
convention and being surrounded by fundraisers and
Mhm.
really thinking about, we wouldn't have universities or hospitals or any of our organizations, for profit or nonprofit, without someone asking someone for help and how to
That's
do
right.
that. It's such a an important profession.
That's
um,
right.
so, thanks for introducing me to seeing fundraising differently. It has
Mhm.
absolutely changed how I go
Yeah.
about this year. And the School for Philanthropy at
Mhm.
Indiana University is such a gem. If people haven't had a chance to take
Yeah.
classes there, so important, right?
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, and you touched on exactly what it is, right? It is the assessment of all the things, right? Your organization and your relationships and your programming, your people, right? It is a constant assessment of that, but also having a place to convene, right? And I want to thank you for attending AFP Icon in San Diego and leading your voice to our board session. I was recently reviewing the survey results of our session, and I always have to, you're a little nervous about reading, session evaluations about how you speak and project what you think you've learned about something, a certain aspect of what you're doing. But I always look at it from a positive point of view of how I can be better, right? And it just helps me be a better person, whether I'm articulating something, showcasing something. And I just want to say thank you to you for being just an advocate for the profession, as well as talking about your struggles openly, because this is the point of what I want to do. And all that I do is talk about the challenges, talk about the struggles, and that we offer solutions. And so if you are watching this, you will be able to see all the links for Julia Whitehead for the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library. So you can check out all the things, stay connected with them, so you can see how they are growing and be involved, whether it's a program you would like to attend or an exhibition from something you've heard here, whether it's Rubber Soles for veterans or the America 250 event, and check out the Kickstarter that's going on for the next 24 hours. But I also know you have a gala coming up later on this year too. When is that?
So Vonnegut Fest this year, Vonnegut Fest is November 7th through 11th. The 11th is Vonnegut's birthday. The 7th is the gala kickoff. So the gala, we give away a Kurt Vonnegut Humor Award each year.
Okay.
It's been given to all sorts of, individuals. And this year we're awarding this to Jordan Klepper of the Daily Show.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and he's a huge Kurt Vonnegut fan, which is a bonus. But he'll be coming to Indianapolis, and so you'll want to check out VonnegutLibrary.org for information about that gala, where it's always a party. We have the best time. We'll be at the Central Library, beautiful atrium there, 400 people. It's a fun evening, and it's our birthday party for Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And you have is there a banned book week that you have also?
Banned Books Week is so special to me. We have been doing this since 2012 when Slaughterhouse-Five was banned in rural Missouri. But so that is a week of different free speech activities. So that is October 4th week. This is under the American Library Association's Banned Books Week. We have a number of writers coming out to the city to speak. We have a partnership this year with the Museum for Tolerance in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And we're working on, it's going to be 3 book discussions. There's a wonderful book called Homegoing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know that title. Yes. By a Ghanaian author. And then there's a book called mm-hmm. The Sunflower that deals with forgiveness discussions around, the author is a Holocaust survivor, and so that has different perspectives on the concept of forgiveness. And then we'll also talk about a piece of work by Kurt Vonnegut that week. Additionally, we have an author coming out, John Hendrickson. He wrote a book about his stutter, and in a way that is a banned story. People who have different types of disabilities or conditions or situations, sometimes their stories are personal experiences are banned because people just overlook them, right? And so he writes for The Atlantic, and he'll be talking about his really well-received book about his experiences in life.
Yeah.
So that's, many things going on for Banned Books Week. It's a time to come to the museum, but we'll also have some hybrid programming. Mm-hmm. Another thing about that week, I want to give another shout out to you, Rochelle, because Banned Books Week, an aspect of that is very much the way that you present yourself. So it's important as a fundraiser to not judge people. We're all complicated. Mm-hmm. Somebody might agree with you on one issue, but then a completely different issue, they don't agree with you. And in this time when our country is so very divided, Banned Books Week is a wonderful time for people to come together, because not very many people like censorship, right? I mean, freedom to read is a constitutional right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have people coming in to visit the museum that week who are, they're on the farms of Indiana. They come in to show their support for our First Amendment rights, and all across the spectrum of, people wanting to show support for free speech. So that's where we all come together as Americans to support that freedom to read. It relates to you because one thing about you as a fundraiser that I've learned is it doesn't matter whether somebody is X, Y, or Z with regard to where they are on the political spectrum or this or that. Our organization is for everybody. It's for everybody. And we're, people are complicated and they're special. And there is something for everybody at the Vonnegut Library, something to really treasure. We call ourselves a caress. That's what Kurt Vonnegut made up that word. And it's like a family. And, everybody can be part of that family.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I appreciate your book references. I will also put those in the description of all the places that this will be linked. I am familiar with homeschooling, but not sunflowers. So I will definitely look into that. I've received some of the best book recommendations during this podcast. I love it so much. And then I also refer them, and people will send messages saying, I saw this book on your podcast and it was so good. So I will circle back with you if people say they have bought these books, and your book as well on Vonnegut, which is available at the library, right?
It's available all over. So Breaking Down Vonnegut. I will give myself a little bit of a plug with this book. When it came out in 2022, it was #1 on Amazon for 20th century young adult American history. And then the next week it was 20th century young adult literary biography. I wrote it for any age, right? Not just that, high school student, college student, middle school student. But I wrote it the way I talk. So
yeah, that's awesome. Well, you have so much going on, Julia. I thank you for your time and being here. Just give me one last truth about fundraising that we don't talk about enough in our profession that you would like to share with others who are looking to gather support for their mission and organizations or their gala that's coming up this year. What truth would you have for them?
I think, and this is maybe an overused phrase, but the people give to people phrase, and that idea that we're all fundraisers there, and that's a noble profession. It is, that is something to feel good about, to be able to share, because you're doing somebody a favor if you're introducing them to the youth writing program that affects, so many thousands of students, for example, or other programs. It's a noble profession, and you've helped me to see that, and I'm grateful to you.
No, thank you. It is definitely an ethical profession, and that we definitely have to have more vehicles that talk about the strategies and the concepts behind fundraising in support of our missions and programming that support our communities, which is important now more than ever. And so thank you for tuning in to this episode of Fundraising Confessions, the truth behind the profession. A huge thank you to Miss Julia Whitehead. Please visit the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library. If this resonates with you, let us know. We are around and look forward to hearing from you. And if you want to learn more about Jerry Consulting Group or the Fundraising Confession podcast, as my daughter would say, hashtag consult with Jerry, search it up. I should tell you all the time. Just search it up, mommy. So hashtag consult with Jerry. Search it up. And thank you very much, Julia. I will see you around town.
Thank you.